robbers, delinquents, psychopaths, murderers. Is it fair to say that activities such as pillaging, assassination and theft happen in the wild? Who were the most lethal killers? The most skillful housebreakers? The most devious? And the most violent? And what are the tools and tricks of nature's wild, wild bunch? Effective, selective, structured. To go about their business of stalking, attacking and looting, some animals form cliques, alliances and mobs. This is organized crime the wild way. Who can stand firm when faced with a mafia of animals, a horde of fangs, claws and muscles imposing its own law, the law of the jungle, of the top dog? But sometimes it's not just muscle and mayhem that counts. The world of wild crime often goes one step further and puts a system in place. So much so that the wild, wild bunch can begin to resemble our very human gangs and cartels, mafias and mobs. Hyenas may not have the most attractive appearance in the world. Ugly, dirty, an ungainly gait, and that famously disconcerting laugh. But it's when it comes to organization that they're perfect. Like members of the infamous Sicilian mafias, spotted hyenas are inculcated in social structure from their earliest infancy, taking an active role in the clan when they're still very young. Young mother hyenas are responsible for the future members of the underworld, pampering them. Since they themselves were little, these females have been part of a group within a group. Female hyenas organize themselves and, like Sicilian nonnas, they run the show. It's a society where tenderness and violence go hand in glove. Hyena society has this peculiarity. The females really do rule the roost. It's a very fixed matriarchy, governed by an older female. She both leads and chooses her companions. And when the time comes, the youngest females will be initiated into the dark goings-on of their mafia. Today's shady activity is food stealing. Inter-gang warfare is a natural part of the life of anyone involved in organized crime, and hyenas fear no one. They attack en masse, comfortable in the knowledge that their jaws are the most powerful and dangerous on the whole savannah. Not even lions can hold their own when confronted with a disciplined horde of malevolent hyenas. It's a gang fight like any other, in that often the prettiest or the coolest come off second best. They might be the ugly neighbors with a bad reputation, but hyenas turn out to be formidable rivals, with daggers in their mouths, enough to scare off all comers. Defeated and frustrated, the lioness simply doesn't dare try to get her meal back. Having done the hardest part of the job, she's left without her just desserts, while the mob of hyenas gets away with the loot. Lions are the only felines that congregate in packs. They're large family units made up of 2 or 3 males, a dozen females, and all their young. And all the lionesses in the pride are related to each other. Lions, at first glance, are the bosses of the neighborhood. The territory belongs to them, and they are the most powerful mafia. But actually, just like their toughest rivals, the hyenas, it's the females that rule the entire territory. They are the real tough girls. They're responsible for maintaining order in their little kingdom. So, like their most annoying enemies, the lionesses organize themselves into true clans. Family life here really is a school of hard knocks. All the students learn the arts of how to menace and kill under the lionesses' tutelage. Male and female cubs are supervised by their mothers as they learn how to get by in life. Meanwhile, the heads of the clan, the great males, have nothing to do with the education of their offspring. The Serengeti's most respected cartel has earned that position through force and fear. As with all mafias, the local inhabitants know who's in charge. When the mob is on the move, no one dares blink an eye. A wave of fear naturally spreads across the plains when a gang of hitmen is on patrol. No one feels safe. Because everybody knows somebody's number is up. Sooner or later, the corpse of an innocent victim will serve as food for the mafia of lions. The truth is that, in the end, El Capo, the most feared and hated, will keep the best of the loot for himself, and the lionesses will be left wanting. But not everyone sees such events as a tragedy. Some thieves are happy to follow lions and hyenas at a distance. These are the Savannah's petty criminals, pickpockets and shoplifters, vultures, marabou storks, and black-backed jackals. All these small-time thieves know that, with some skill and some luck, they'll be able to steal a decent portion of meat from under the powerful butchers' noses. Among these animals, the small black-backed jackal, never far from the best assassins, stands out. These canids are skilled street fighters who wait their turn until they can take advantage of the misfortune of others. If the Great African Plains had a wild police force, the snitches, the informers, would probably be the jackals. Black-backed jackals are the living embodiment of nature's pickpockets, making the most of the top gangsters' mistakes to grab some small change, some overlooked tidbits of their crimes. But even the jackals are not without their merits. They must know how to wait for the right moment to swipe their share without running any risks. So jackals settle for just enough to survive. As petty thieves, they often have to fight over the same scraps with other scroungers. But despite all appearances, these small-time crooks play an important role in the local ecology as they eliminate vast amounts of organic remains that otherwise might become a source of infection. But once again, the hyena mob doesn't miss an opportunity to drive off the lesser criminals. So some of the most powerful wild criminal organizations are run by femme fatale. In the case of wolves, an alpha couple shares the responsibilities. Wolf society is strictly hierarchical, an organization commanded by a powerful male and his partner. They lead the band of outlaws together. Wolves don't shy away from imposing their power. Their leaders are strong and intelligent. A snarl, a show of fangs, is often enough to remind pack members who is boss. But they can also be very violent if necessary. And a smackdown reminds any rebels who they must obey. It must be very clear who's the leader of a criminal gang if it's not to fall apart. A rule wolves are very clear about. After putting the crew in order, it's time to strike again. The wolf gang gets underway. And now it runs smooth as silk. A tough, resilient group. Wolves are a physical marvel, and on many occasions their prey falls to them out of sheer exhaustion. Everyone in the team knows their place and function. The results are not long in coming. A beautiful roe deer is the reward for such perfect organization. Of course, dividing up the prize is also done at the boss's discretion. Democracy is not a concept wolf packs recognize, and the most powerful are the first to fill their stomachs. The rest of the gang must wait their turn. So the recipe for coexistence within Mafia is a good helping of strength, a splash of bad manners, and a pinch of violence. But not all criminal organizations work the same way. Some mafia are more egalitarian, with important decisions being made with the participation of all members of the gang. African wild dogs share the burden of decisions through the magnanimity of their leaders. When a pack of wild dogs makes the decision to hunt, there's no turning back. Sooner or later, there will be blood. African wild dogs work like a well-organized gang of strong young delinquents, determined and agile. And their hunting raids have a very high kill rate. In fact, about 80% of their sorties end in their favor, making them the most successful bullies in the world. Even the huge tusks of warthogs don't dissuade them. And just as they share power, they also share out the food. The entire pack takes part in the meal. This is such a united and supportive mob that its oldest members, its youngsters, and the adults who look after them are given food by the rest. While African wild dogs are sympathetic and generous, other gangs only come together from time to time as their own interests demand. Locusts form gigantic clouds that devastate vegetation wherever they pass. But at the same time, they themselves become a banquet, an enticing protein boost that attracts many gang members. These are usually solitary bandits, living without commitments to others. The caracara is an opportunistic bird, not a great hunter, given that its flight is rather slow and cumbersome, but a good improviser and an unfussy eater, always ready to steal or kill whatever crosses its path. Caracaras lead a solitary life, content to snack where and when they can to take the edge off their hunger. The only time they come together is to fight over the remains of some corpse. But between not liking to share and having very bad tempers, they don't normally team up or forge beneficial alliances with fellow members of the crime syndicate. But there are certain special occasions that do bring many caracaras together. A sudden abundance of a particular resource tends to attract a lot of hopeful opportunists. And locusts appearing on the plains of South America is just the sort of situation gangs of hungry killers like. That said, although there's a huge number of crunchy, appetizing locusts, they're not so easy to catch. And the only solution is to join forces. For a while, the caracaras decide to tolerate each other and establish effective strategies to make the most of the bounty. They come together in groups to corral the locusts. By herding them from one side to the other, they scare the locusts, causing them to jump into the air until one of the birds manages to catch one. It's a very occasional truce between bandits in which everyone benefits from the common effort. But as soon as the locusts disappear, each individual will go back to its solitary life of scavenging scraps. In the muddy waters of African rivers, something similar takes place. Wildebeest, topi and zebra know that assassins are waiting for them down there. For tens of thousands of years, generation after generation has experienced the same fear. Millions of antelope stand frozen in terror, transfixed by the river, unable to find the courage to take a single step. A gang of hungry crocodiles. Crocodiles are the most primitive of killers, with a bloody past that goes back 200 million years. No one has such a long and victim-filled criminal record. Nile crocodiles live in close proximity with each other, although they don't form mafia per se, but rather loosely organized groups with certain mutual interests. And food is one of them. Crocodiles are patience incarnate. They're capable of enduring days, weeks, and even months of waiting, safe in the knowledge that sooner or later their meal will arrive on foot from the shore. Dozens of crocodiles wait half submerged in the river. The actual moment of attack is a personal choice, each crocodile making its move when it sees fit. Their fearsome mouths and jaws, like meter-long traps, snap shut around the bodies of zebra and topi. And once closed, they will not open again. Not until their prey has drowned, that is. It's then that they need the help of their criminal cohorts to tear it apart. So once again, these animals associate when it comes to dividing up the loot. Without the help of their compadres, they cannot reduce the cadaver into chunks that are small enough, though still pretty large, to swallow. This kind of mutually beneficial temporary union of criminal interests is repeated throughout the natural world on different scales. Oceanic white-tip sharks take a daytime siesta. Sharks, like crocodiles, are perfect killing machines, and like the ancient reptiles, have been around for millions of years, 400 to be exact. And while these are resting on the sandy seafloor, they seem almost harmless. But at night, they become active, forming packs that roam the reefs, as they have for eons, in search of defenseless fish. It's fairly common to wake up grumpy after a nap, and sharks are no different. Their natural aggression is augmented by hunger, and tempers are bound to flare. Above their tooth-filled heads, similar scenes play out among the waves at sunset. A shoal of ocean-going fish is in the sights of a multifarious band of killers. Sharks, dolphins and tuna all decide to hold up the same bank at the same time. Bank of fish, that is. Quick-fire, brutal incursions pick off the members of the group of terrified fish one by one. In a matter of moments, hardly any survivors will be left. Oceanic organized crime can be as efficient as it is elemental. Inland, flocks of felonious fish abound. Many species of fish hunt and feed on their aquatic cousins. It really is true that the big fish eats the little fish. And many fish, as they mature, go from being potential victims to surefire killers. And not only smaller fish, but also insects and countless aquatic animals are fair game. Andean cascafes are very voracious animals, so much so, in fact, that they will even leave the water to obtain food. Their favorite dish is dragonfly, but hunting them on the wing is not an easy task. Dragonflies are one of the fastest insects. They can reach speeds of almost 150 kilometers per hour. cascafés are powerful, calculating killers, and will jump from the depths of their pools to catch their meal mid-flight. Sometimes the most powerful criminals are not the biggest or strongest individuals, but those who employ discretion and a tightly knit organization. Some species of insects are perfect examples of a synchronized society. There's no mob better organized or more efficient than a colony of ants. This is an army that loots, steals, and murders in the most methodical way. It's estimated that some anthills might have over 1 million inhabitants, most of which are potential killers. And low estimates suggest that they can capture about 200,000 insects every day. This really is a very dangerous neighborhood. The outskirts of an ant city are not somewhere small animals should be hanging around. Red wood or horse ants will attack either alone or en masse. The ferocity and insistence of their assaults would break anyone's resistance. One after another, the victims' bodies are carried inside their fortress. But ants can also be extremely effective thieves. Quickly and silently, they can even make off with a whole tree. Leafcutter ants have specialized in stealing all kinds of plants, no matter the size. In fact, the bigger the better. These expert gardeners carry a pair of shears on their heads for pruning, and they know how to use them. No one is consulted as the chosen tree is shredded, one tiny bite at a time. Each leaf, transformed into easy-to-carry bits of confetti, is then whisked away by a tireless tiny gang. In no more than a few hours, they can reduce a verdant tree to nothing. Piece by piece, it's taken inside the anthill, where it will serve as fertilizer for their crops of fungus. Animals have as many different ways of organizing themselves as there are types of union. From tight clans and families to loosely bonded gatherings, they may seem like ruthless criminal organizations whose intention is to prey on the weakness of others. But fearsome and efficient as these groups are, they're also wonderful examples of how animals interact in complex ways in order to survive the hostile environments that are home to the wild, wild bunch.